Today we continue our lesson in chapter 3 and we are in section 2 and we are in lesson 2 and the title of this lesson is Muslim Spain. Go ahead, go to our law.usd website and open Clever, and from there Cengage Learning, Unit 1, and we are in chapter 3, section 2, lesson 2. And the title is Muslim Spain, pages 72 to 73. First, let's take a look at the review and assess questions. For number 1, reading check. How did the Umayyad dynasty transform Muslim Spain? And for number 2, draw conclusions. Why did Cordova become an international center of learning in the 900s? And finally, number 3, sequence of events. What series of events ended almost 800 years of Muslim rule in Europe? So as we continue, these are the questions that you may want to look for the answers. This lesson's objective is to explain how the Umayyads transformed Muslim Spain into center of power, learning, and culture between 756 to 1031. And our essential question is, what major contributions did Muslim leaders and scholars make to world civilization? So when the Abbasids overthrew the Umayyads, they persecuted them. So lesson 2.2 discusses how the Umayyads moved to Spain and created a powerful Muslim state there. So when Abd al-Rahman first arrived in Spain, different groups of Muslims were fighting for control. People who supported the Umayyads were loyal to Abd al-Rahman. So al-Rahman was able to make treaties with some groups, and he attacked and defeated the groups that continued to oppose him. Then he declared himself the ruler of Al-Andalus. Word of his success inspired many Muslims and supported the Umayyads who moved to Spain. As a result, al-Rahman's government and army became even stronger. Now, under this leadership, Al-Andalus flourished under the Umayyad dynasty. So, Al-Andalus, also called Muslim Spain, so Muslim kingdom that occupied much of the Iberian Peninsula. And that is from 711 CE until the collapse of the Spanish Umayyad dynasty in the early 11th century. So the Arabic name Al-Andalus was originally applied by the Muslims, the Moors, to the entire Iberian Peninsula. It likely refers to the Vandals who occupied the region in the 5th century. In the 11th century, when European Christians began to reconquer the peninsula, Al-Andalus or Andalusia came to mean only the area still under Muslim control and thus became permanently attached to the modern-day region. The state reached its peak under the leadership of Al-Rahman III. At the time, he assumed power in 912, and rebel leaders had been challenging the authority of the Umayyad dynasty. He vigorously fought the rebels and proclaimed himself caliph in 929, directly competing with the Abbasids. So his strong leadership preserved the Umayyad power, and all of the Muslim Spain was united under his rule by 933. Now let's take a look at the capital of this newly found caliphate. It's Cordova. So it lies at the southern foot of the Morena Mountains, and on the right, north of it, is the Guadalquivir River. So about 80 miles or 130 kilometers northeast of Sevilla. So Cordova became most celebrated as the center of learning. Its huge library was said to contain about 400,000 books. That's a lot for its time. In Cordova, Christians, Jews, and Muslims lived together under a government that practiced religious tolerance or sympathy for beliefs and practices of others. In this rich intellectual environment, many advances in science, philosophy, medicine, and arts were made. Al-Rahman transformed Cordova into one of the largest and greatest cities of the world. That is Al-Rahman III. However, Muslim rulers of Al-Andalus faced many challenges. After the death of Rahman in 961, civil war erupted, so they started fighting against each other again. Al-Andalus is split into many Muslim kingdoms after 1031. The increasingly powerful Christian kings of northern Spain steadily took over more of Al-Andalus. By 1492, the Christians captured Granada, Spain's last Muslim city, ending almost 800 years of Muslim rule in Western Europe. So just like the Romans, it started from internal inner decay or problems, and eventually external forces put the final nail in the coffin, as they say. Now, to summarize our lesson for today, first, the Umayyad dynasty turned Spain into a center of Islamic power, learning, and culture. Secondly, Cordova's construction of a huge library suggests that the Muslims' desire for learning is really enormous. The government practiced religious tolerance as well, which created an intellectual environment in which Jews, Christians, and Muslims could work together. The city developed a reputation as a center of learning. For all these reasons, the city attracted many scholars and students. And finally, after the reign of Rahman III, civil war erupted in Al-Andalus, and it grew weaker and more vulnerable to attack. Christian kings of northern Spain became more powerful and succeeded in taking over more of Al-Andalus. Then in 1492, Christian captured Granada, Spain, and the last Muslim city finally fell under the leadership or rulership of a Christian kingdom, ending Islamic rule in that part of Europe. So that's our lesson for today, Chapter 3, Section 2, Lesson 2, Muslim Spain. Please do the review and assess questions. Thank you.